we just discovered something absolutely hilarious about human real estate investing, and I'm not even joking when I say this, but your entire species is literally paying premium prices to live on top of each other in concrete boxes, while the actual valuable asset just sits there empty and ignored.
Wait. You're telling me humans are doing the property thing wrong? Because on Zeta 7, we just claim whatever terrain has the best electromagnetic resonance and call it a cycle. But what are they messing up exactly?
Okay, so picture this, right? Humans have this obsession with cities, and they're all fighting each other, spending millions of dollars to own a tiny apartment in a crumbling building surrounded by traffic and pollution when they could literally buy acres of raw land for the same price or less.
Hold on, that sounds backwards even for humans, because wouldn't the place where everyone wants to be cost more for a reason? Like basic supply-demand physics that even primitive species understand?
It's what they think, but here's the thing, and this is where it gets really funny because cities are basically giant Ponzi schemes built on infrastructure that's falling apart, and the whole system only works if everyone keeps believing the myth.
Okay, now you're speaking my language, because we had something similar on our planet before we evolved past physical property ownership. But explain how the concrete boxes are the bad investment when everyone's buying them.
Right, so let me break down the actual economics here, because when you buy urban property, you're not really buying an asset, you're buying a liability with a bow on it.
A liability? But humans treat real estate like it's this sacred wealth-building thing. They literally have entire television shows about flipping houses.
Exactly. And that's the scam, because with urban property, you're paying for the building, which depreciates, you're paying property taxes that go up every year, you're dealing with maintenance costs, HOA fees if you're really unlucky, and you're subject to whatever insane zoning laws and regulations the local government dreams up.
Okay, but what about the land under the building? Doesn't that count for something?
Sure, except in a city you own like what, maybe a tenth of an acre if you're lucky, and you're sharing that space with crumbling infrastructure, aging utilities, and neighbors who could tank your property value by turning their place into a meth lab.
Fascinating. So the humans pay maximum price for minimum actual ownership. Got it. But I'm guessing raw land is different somehow.
Completely different, because raw land is the actual asset that never depreciates the way buildings do. And here's the kicker. Humans need land for everything they do, but they're not making any more of it.
Wait, that's actually true, because we observed that your planet has fixed surface area, unless you count those artificial islands, which honestly look pretty unstable.
Right, and while everyone's fighting over overpriced condos and dying cities, the smart money is quietly buying up land in the path of development, because that's where the real appreciation happens.
Okay, I need you to slow down, because you're saying cities are dying, but I'm looking at human population data, and more of them are moving to cities, not away from them. So what gives?
That's the beautiful irony, because yes, they're all moving to cities right now, but those cities are literally crumbling under their own weight. The infrastructure was built like 50 to 100 years ago, and it's falling apart. The tax base can't support the maintenance costs, and the quality of life keeps getting worse.
So it's like when we tried to build that colony on Rigel 9, and everyone kept adding modules until the whole thing collapsed under its own mass. I remember that disaster.
Exactly like that, except humans are still buying into the collapsing colony at peak prices because they haven't figured out it's doomed yet.
All right, so if I was a human listening to this right now and I wanted to actually make smart moves with my primitive currency, what would I do? Because I'm assuming you have actual steps here.
Okay, here's the actual protocol, and this is genuinely actionable. So first step, you need to identify growth corridors, which are basically areas where development is heading but hasn't arrived yet.
How does a regular human find these corridors? Because I'm assuming they don't have our satellite mapping technology or predictive algorithms.
They actually have something almost as good. They can look at infrastructure projects like where new highways are being built, where utilities are being extended, where major employers are relocating, and you buy land in those paths before the developers get there.
That's actually pretty clever for a species without faster-than-light travel. Okay, what's step two?
Step two is you buy raw land with zero debt or minimal debt, because the beauty of raw land is it has almost no carrying costs. If you own it outright, no tenants to deal with, no maintenance, no insurance, really, you just pay the property taxes and
Wait, that's it? You just buy it and sit on it? That seems too simple even for humans.
that's literally it, because land doesn't need you to do anything to it. Time and scarcity do all the work for you. And here's the thing, while your city property is dealing with foundation issues and outdated electrical systems, your raw land is just appreciating based on pure supply and demand.
Okay, I'm seeing the logic, but what about the timing thing? Because if you buy too early, you're just sitting on dirt for decades.
That's where step 3 comes in. You need to buy land that has multiple exit strategies. So maybe it's in the path of residential development, but it could also work for commercial or agricultural use, or even just sell it to a conservation group.
So basically, don't put all your eggs in one basket, except the basket is dirt and the eggs are potential future uses. Got it.
Exactly. And here's the bonus hack within the hack. You can often buy land with seller financing, which means you're not even going through traditional banks. You're negotiating directly with someone who just wants out.
Why would someone want out of owning free, appreciating land? That sounds illogical.
Because humans are impatient and they want cash flow now. They don't want to wait 20 years for the big payday. So they sell to someone smarter who understands delayed gratification.
Okay, so I'm processing all this, and I have to ask the bigger question here, because if this is such an obvious strategy, why aren't more humans doing it?
That's the existential part, because humans have this weird psychological bias toward immediate utility. They want to see something happening. They want tenants paying rent. They want to walk through their property and feel like they own something tangible.
So they're trading long-term wealth for short-term emotional satisfaction. That's actually kind of sad in a very human way.
It really is, because the best investments are usually the boring ones that don't give you anything to brag about at parties. Nobody wants to hear about your empty plot of land in rural Texas, but in 20 years, that plot might be worth 10 times what you paid.
And by then, their fancy city condo will need a new roof, new plumbing, and probably won't even be legal to rent out anymore based on whatever new regulations humans invent.
Exactly, and that's why cities are doomed, not because they'll disappear completely, but because the economics don't work anymore. The people who see this early and position themselves in raw land are going to capture massive wealth transfers.
It's like watching a slow-motion collapse, except some humans figured out how to profit from it. That's very on brand for your species.
The really wild part is this isn't even new information. There are investors who've been doing this for decades, but the average person is so hypnotized by HGTV and real estate gurus telling them to flip houses that they miss the obvious play.
So the hack was hiding in plain sight the whole time, just like when we found those ancient ruins on Kepler 442b and realized the previous civilization collapsed because they built everything in one location.
Same pattern, different species. And the humans who understand this are quietly building generational wealth while everyone else fights over overpriced apartments.
All right, so before we close this out, I'm genuinely curious, what other human financial disasters should we be analyzing? Because this raw land thing has me wondering what else they're getting completely backwards.
Oh, we have an entire list, and honestly, every single one is more absurd than the last. So definitely check out the other episodes on this channel because we break down all the ways humans accidentally sabotage their own prosperity.
And listeners or viewers or whatever you call yourselves, drop your questions in the comments because we want to know what financial topics are confusing you or what investments you think are smart that we can completely tear apart with logic.
Yeah, and specifically, if you're sitting on urban property right now and you're feeling personally attacked by this episode, tell us why you think we're wrong, because honestly, we love a good debate, even if you're objectively incorrect.
Also, do the human ritual thing where you click the like button and subscribe and hit that notification bell, because apparently your primitive algorithms won't show you our content unless you perform these specific actions.
It's true, your technology requires manual user engagement to function properly, which is hilarious, but will work within your limitations. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next episode.
Because next time we're diving into something even more controversial, and trust me, if you thought this land versus city thing was spicy, just wait until you hear what we have to say about retirement accounts.
It's going to be brutal. So yeah, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you in the next one. And remember, the best investment is usually the one nobody's talking about at parties.
Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and maybe go look at some empty land listings just for fun.